Creamy and familiar, this carnivore boba brings the comfort of classic bubble tea into a carnivore-friendly cup. Whether you keep it pure or add a touch of honey, it's an easy, nourishing treat that feels just right. For this fun recipe, we'll be using heavy cream, water or whole milk for a creamier texture, gelatin powder from grass-fed pastured cows, and for flex carnivores, there's the option to add vanilla extract, and also optionally raw honey for an extra touch of sweetness, 3 large egg yolks. And here you can see the deep color difference between the 2 pastured egg yolks compared to the regular organic grain-fed yolk. And also as an option for flex carnivores, ground nutmeg and or cinnamon. To start, we're going to bloom the gelatin. For easy access, I like to move the gelatin powder into an airtight container. I'm using gelatin all the time, and this is certainly a convenient way to store the powder while maintaining freshness. I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to check out some glass storage containers like this one. Just sprinkle the gelatin evenly over a couple tablespoons of water and let it sit for a minute or 2. This will allow the gelatin to soften and thicken slightly. You might hear me say boba or bubble tea throughout this recipe. They're the same drink, just different wording depending on where you're from. And I'll use both terms interchangeably in this video. Next, in a small saucepan over low heat, gently warm the cream and the rest of the water. You don't want it to boil, just let it get nice and steamy. As it warms, you'll notice a light aroma of the cream filling the air. It's cozy and comforting, like the start of something delicious. Once it has warmed, stir in the bloom gelatin until it's completely dissolved and the mixture looks smooth and silky. Keep stirring until it's glossy and uniform, almost like a velvety custard base. That's when you know it's just right. You'll see it transform into a beautifully rich, creamy liquid that's the perfect foundation for your boba pearls. Now that the cream pearl mixture is ready, it's time to fill the mold. You can use an ice cube tray or shallow dish, but here I'm using a circular ice cube tray. It's just the right size for creating smooth, rounded pearls that look beautiful in the finished bubble tea. It's easy to handle and works perfectly for this recipe. I'll include a link to this tray in the description if you'd like to pick one up for yourself. The set comes with 2 trays, so I'll be using one for the creamy pearls and the other for the plain gelatin pearls. You can visit carnivore-collections.com for the full recipe card, and there you will find instructions on making the plain gelatin pearls. After pouring the mixture, make sure that each space is covered and it reaches the top fill line. Then place the lid on top and press down gently. You'll feel a soft resistance and see a bit of the mixture rise through the openings. That's how you know each mold is sealed just right. Here you can see how evenly the tray is filled. Every little sphere is topped perfectly with no gaps or air bubbles. This helps the pearls set evenly, giving you that smooth round shape once they're chilled and ready to unmold. Once everything looks smooth and evenly filled, they're ready to chill. Carefully stack the trays to save space, then place them in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours so that the pearls can set firmly. They'll be perfect for assembling your bubble tea later on. After a couple hours in the refrigerator, the pearls are fully set and ready to unmold. Start by gently removing the top half of the tray. You'll notice each pearl sitting neatly in its little sphere, smooth and glossy. To release them, don't rush. Gently twist the tray or tap it lightly on the counter to loosen the pearls. Then using your fingers or the edge of a small spoon, carefully coax each one out of its mold. They should slide out with a bit of patience, perfectly round and intact. Take your time here. The goal is to keep them whole. Once they're all released, you'll have beautiful, delicate cream gelatin pearls ready to add texture and richness to your bubble tea. The plain gelatin pearls are a bit easier to unmold and have a firmer texture, so they can be removed from the mold more quickly. For these pearls, I've added a small amount of natural Watkins food coloring simply to make them easier to see in the final drink. Now take a moment to look at the texture. Soft, delicate, and just slightly translucent. These gelatin pearls are ready to use and will bring that satisfying chew to your bubble tea experience. For the eggnog-style bubble tea base, start by gently warming the cream, milk, and egg yolks together in a saucepan over medium-low heat. Whisk slowly until everything comes together into a silky smooth mixture. Keep stirring as it heats. You'll notice it starts to thicken slightly and coat the back of your spoon. That's when you know it's ready. Be sure not to let it boil. We want it to be rich and creamy, not scrambled. Once it's just right, remove it from the heat, and this is where you can stir in a little nutmeg for warmth and an optional sweetener if you like. Then we're going to transfer the eggnog into a mason jar to let it cool to room temperature. Once it's there, then we're going to pop it into the fridge to chill. When it's cold, it turns into this beautifully smooth, velvety base, perfect for your carnivore bubble tea. Now let's make the tea base. I'm using an organic, fair trade decaf black tea for this recipe. When choosing a decaf tea, it's important to look for one that's processed naturally. This one uses a clean CO2 decaffeination method instead of chemical solvents, so you get all the flavor without the unwanted residues. Start by steeping your black tea in hot water for at least 10 minutes. This gives it a deep, rich flavor that really stands out once it's mixed with the cream. After it's done brewing, let it cool completely. And this is the point where you can add a touch of raw honey if you'd like just a hint of sweetness. We've got everything prepped. The cream pearls, the gelatin pearls, the eggnog base, and the black tea base. When it comes to homemade bubble tea, I like using a sturdy glass cup with an acacia wood lid. It's durable, looks beautiful, and can handle both hot and cold drinks with ease. I personally avoid bamboo lids since they tend to build up mold quickly, and I skip plastic straws to keep things clean and microplastic free. A wide metal straw works perfectly for this recipe, and I'll link my favorite bubble tea cup set in the description below. It's one of those small upgrades that makes the whole experience feel a little more special, like you're enjoying a cafe-quality bubble tea right at home. So let's start by adding our bubbles to the bottom of the glass. For the eggnog version, I'm using the gelatin pearls. I love how they glisten and bounce slightly as they settle in. They give the drink a playful cafe-style touch. Once they're in, you'll see how the layers start to build beautifully with the creamy base ready to pour right over top. Next up, we're making the black tea version. Add a few scoops of those cream pearls to the bottom. They'll give a beautiful contrast to the tea when it's poured in. Now pour in the cooled black tea, watching it as it swirls through the cream pearls. And then finish it off with a generous splash of heavy cream for that silky, layered look. And there you have it. carnivore boba made completely from scratch. It's a simple, comforting way to enjoy something familiar while still keeping it clean and intentional. Let me know in the comments if this is a recipe you'll be trying and which version you're drawn to.